Okay, we're installing these O-rings, and um, the book doesn't tell which way to put them in. There's definitely a taper to one side. It's pointed. Then there's a double rib on the other side. I looked online, and it looks like they say the pointed side goes towards the cylinder head, and they call this the quad seal. I don't see quad. I see two ribs. I suppose you counted, I don't know. But the quad seal towards the block. So the pointed side, if you can see that, it's pointed like a arrow on this side, and the back side there's like a two little ribs there. Those two ribs are supposed to be towards the block side. So we're gonna put these in like that. You know, and there was some kind of sealant on here. It's yellow. This is the head that I purchased on eBay. So who knows? My book doesn't say to use any kind of sealant. I've heard people say use an anaerobic sealer on here, which is, that's what this stuff is. And what that means is, anaerobic means it cures in the presence of no air. So if there's no air, it'll cure. If you can put it on there, squirt it on there, this is the same stuff that we use to put the two halves together on the block. So you squirt that in there, squeeze it together, and when there's no air, it'll cure. But the book says don't use it. It doesn't say to use it. Some guys, I guess, put some on. I don't want to leak, but the book says these two gaskets are what you need, or these three, and this one that goes on the outside. So I'm going to try it. If it leaks, what the bummer of it is, I'm going to use these bolts that stretch. You know, you put them in there, crank them down, torque them an extra 90 degrees, and if it leaks after that, I'm going to have to pull them back out and find another way to seal it, and I just ruined all these bolts. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put together the way the book says, and hopefully it won't leak. Take this guy off too. Oh, man, he's on there. It's been a while. I just got back from my trip from Alaska. It was fun. We flew into Anchorage from Michigan to Minnesota to Anchorage. And the flight from Minnesota left right about at dusk. The sun was just setting. We got up on the plane. It's a 6-hour flight, and the sun never went down. It stayed at sunset for 6 hours. It didn't go down until we landed in Anchorage. That was something I'd never seen before. A 6-hour sunset. It was very cool. This guy's coming out. Yeah, see, this one's got that stuff on it too, which bugs me. Some kind of sealant was on there. But was this the second guy that did that? Did we need to do that? I don't know. Yes, I don't know what to do, guys. Do I put a sealer in here or not? I think I'm not going to do it. And when it leaks, I'll take it back apart and put a sealer on it and buy new bolts again. It'll cost me another 120 bucks. The head's easy to get to, so I can do it from inside the boat, I think. Don't have to take the engine out to do it, if I had to. I would just hope that it would seal without having to, because the water's running along in here, so you just don't want water to leak into the cylinder. Or leak outside the cylinder. Anyway, we got to Alaska, Anchorage, stayed there that night. The next morning, we take a trip to Whittier. That's where the cruise takes off from. It's about an hour drive from Alaska on a bus. And as we're going down there, we noticed that the bus is kind of blowing around on the road. It's windy. The bus driver said it was windy. And then we passed a semi-truck that had blown completely off the road and into the water. There's a ocean. If you ever been to Alaska before, the bay on the, as you're heading south on the right side of the road, which I guess that'd be anyway. Right side of the road where the ocean is, where the water is right next to the road. Anyway, this semi was blown into the road. Was it upside down? No, it was right side up, but it was half buried with water. The guy definitely would have had to swim out. So that was scary. Then we get to Whittier, and there's 35 mile an hour winds, 45 mile an hour gusts. The rain's going sideways. If it was below 32 degrees, it would have been a blizzard because it was coming down. And it was so hard, it was raining so hard that the captain of the boat said, hey, we're not going to take off tonight. We're going to wait till tomorrow because it's just too rough, which I was happy with that. I don't want to be in a rough ocean. Well, it was still windy the next day, and we had 20-foot swells on the first 500 miles from Whittier to whatever Glacier Bay where we stopped the first night, or first stop. And I'm telling you what, it wasn't bad. The ship wasn't really rocking. You see some of the videos. This is a big ship, but you could not walk straight down a hallway. You would go side to side, no matter how hard you tried. It looked like you were drunk because you just could not walk a straight line on the boat. It was so wavy. The inside pool, the pool indoors, was just, there's waves inside the pool, just splashing outside the pool and the end of the deck. It looked like a wave pool, but it wasn't. It was just a normal pool. Pretty crazy. Okay, boys and girls. I put a really super thin coat of oil on this. This is called a spaghetti gasket because it kind of looks like spaghetti when you pull it out. And these O-rings here, I put them up. There's two grooves on the top. There's a pointy side down, so the pointy side down towards the cylinder head. The grooves towards the block is what I read. It doesn't explain it in the manual, so I'm hoping that's right. I saw a video online that looks like another guy put it in the same way, but I've heard of people putting them in backwards too, so which way is right? Hopefully it's this way. So we're going to put this guy on, and I'm going to hold it tight because when you put these bolts in, they fit tight and you can start pushing it out. So I think I'm going to kind of I don't want that thing to pop out on me. So we're gonna, the water jacket or whatever that thing's called has to be on top. Supposed to have light oil on this. You think that'll stay there? Let's hold this temporarily so it won't fall off. You can feel it hitting that gasket. Alright, that's going to hold it for a second. Got my new $5 bolts. 22 of them or whatever it is. So they put a little light oil on them. Where's number one? Number one's right here. I'm gonna spin it in, but hold this thing tight so the gasket doesn't come out. is 2-stroke oil. Number 2, it's nice that they're labeled right on the block, or right on the cylinder head. Fingers are slippery for some odd reason. Number 3, it's right here. Some on the head too. Number 4. It's September here, last part of September in Michigan, and we've got like 80-degree days for the next 2 weeks. I'm thinking, whoa, I might have enough time to get this in the water. I'm trying to hopefully I can get this thing started yet this fall and get the boat in the water just to see if it works. Everybody else has already started pulling their boats out of the water for the season. But I could see myself maybe even taking this out in October if I don't get it done by then. So I don't know if the motor works. Next year I can work on polishing the boat and get new seats in it. Spider cracks that I wouldn't mind fixing on it, and the gel coat. Where's 7? Right here. They're getting tough to open with the fingers are slippery. This one's stuck. I'll try to get that on my phone. Got the shakes, caffeine in me. Oh. here. I suppose if I did this for a living, I wouldn't be using my fingers. I'd have some rubber gloves on. I don't plan on doing this for a living. It is kind of fun though. I could see doing it again though. We'll see if it's fun, if it actually works. If it doesn't work, it might not be so much fun. I don't know, I've always liked taking things apart and putting them back together. That's number 9, here's number 10. Oh, there's a chunk of metal right there. I bought one extra. I'll clean that out later with something. But I'm not putting that in. You think for $5 they'd check every one to make sure they're perfect. If they individually seal them in an individual bag, give you that allure of an inspected product. Catching on something there. Should build. Yeah, it's going in. Yours might have a little bit of goop on or something. All right. Check the book to see what these are supposed to be torqued to. Check your own manual for yourself. It's supposed to be 30 foot-pounds on this one. I'm going to go 10, 20, and 30. Doing 3 separate steps since these things are so expensive. Foot-pounds. Hold on a second. 25. Mine starts at 25. 24, 20. 2. Alright, number one. Is right. Should be here, right? Yeah. Number 2. 3 is right here. 4, 5, 6. All right, going up to 20. Oh. Going up to 30. Okay, they're all at 30. Now I need to do one more 90 degree, but I'm gonna wait. So 90 degrees is there to there, right? 180, 270, 360. So I'll start at the top, but I'm gonna do the other one first here. I put 2-stroke oil on each one of these cylinders really well and spun this several times on all 6 cylinders. And is it too much oil? Yeah, probably for normal operation, but on first startup I don't want to have it starve for oil. So when I first start it, it's going to smoke like a train, I'm sure, but I would rather have that than not enough oil. So it's so satisfying turning that thing. I could do that all day. When you're a kid, you know, build a little plastic V8 motor, sit there and watch it spin. This was basically free with a trailer, so I bought a trailer and I got a free motor to play with. So even if it doesn't work, heck, it's fun. I could put it on my bench and let the grandkids play with it. All right, so everything looks good on this guy. What I need though, I need a bolt to hold it temporarily. So there's 2 little pins. There's one here, one here. They're in the block to align it up. Double checking, making sure that all my gaskets are in there. I don't want them to get pinched in the wrong spot. They look good. You know, if it leaks, which, you know, I'm not putting that anaerobic sealer on. Some people do that, and I'm not doing it. The book doesn't call for it, and if it leaks, I can take these back out and redo it again, I guess, but you know what, I should have, well, take it out in a second. Lubing up the screws. Number 2. I think you're supposed to put a little bit of oil on the inside of the head too. So that's why I'm putting some in there. Not supposed to put it on the head, but oh well. It feels like I feel like grabbing something there. Why is that so? It's going. If it wasn't so slippery, it'd be easy to turn in. This one just is grabbing a little bit harder than the other ones. As long as I can put in with my fingers, it should be okay, right? It is tight going though. It's going. All right. My blade's getting dull. It opens a plastic bag though. So on our trip to Alaska, one of the first stops was Skagway? Is that where we did the train ride? We did a train ride anyway, narrow gauge train ride, which is, we're looking forward to. This will be the last going up the mountain, 60 miles, and beautiful scenery. It's gorgeous. We got up about, I don't know, 10, 20 miles, and one of the cars derailed. The third car from the engine derailed. So now we had to wait for an engine from down the mountain come up and connect to us and bring us back down, because you can't really spin the train around on a narrow mountain side. And the three cars that were, there's the 2 cars and the 2 cars in front of the car that derailed, all those people had to fit in the remaining cars, which they did. We got everybody on those cars and came back down the mountain. The issue was, apparently there was a gap, and they were working on the rails, putting in new, what do you call them? Rails, right? And there was a gap in between the 2 rails. Now they're supposed to fit like this, and there's a gap in the wheels came off. The wheels came off the bus. The wheels came off the track. Came off the car. So I don't know if someone's going to get in trouble over that or not. The nice thing is they refunded us our money, so we had a free train trip. And we got a story out of it. So that was kind of cool. Man, why is that so tight? What am I doing wrong, guys? That's not that tight. There's not a gap there. All right. I did put oil on that, didn't I? I'm sure I did. Now you got me wondering. Gosh. I could go back and just look at the video. I'll bore you guys to death and take out and look at it myself. saying, yeah, you already looked at, yeah, there's oil in that. And so we had to wait 2 hours for this train engine to come up from the bottom of the mountain to come and save us. We thought our story was bad, but there was a train that went up before us up the mountain. They couldn't get back down because our train was derailed on their line. So they had to go back up the mountain and call in buses to haul everybody down the mountain on the backside. And some of those people, to get to the buses, had to walk, and they weren't in shape to walk. They had to airlift them out by helicopter. So whoever was working on those rails, I think, is going to be in some trouble. Cost the company some money. But it was a fun train ride. I'd do it again. I'm sure they'll fix it. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Highly recommend if you go to, pretty sure it was Skagway. They had the train right there. Definitely worth doing. 5, 6. It'll probably never happen again. I choose to fast forward through this. You guys are never going to hear this story. Some people say, great, I don't want to hear you talk anyway, bud. Alright, 7. It is fun to put in new parts. You ever work on a car and it's rusted, parts are rusted, and if you live in the Midwest like I do, bolts break off and stuff. It's nice to work with new parts, new bolts. Suppose if you had a rusty marine motor, that would be bad. But it's just nice to have pieces that fit and go together and are fairly clean. Much more fun to work on than rusty, greasy stuff. Ooh, I have 4 left. Look at that. Perfect. Probably that one that has the issue. Yep, dripping. Flying all over the place. That one's got one of those. Look at that. Now I'm gonna have to clean that out. I have to get a. They're saying you shouldn't really use a. Oh, wait a minute. Get that with my thumb. It's just a chip of metal. This thing has never been in an engine. I could see a hunk of bringing out a hunk of aluminum or whatever it was in, but it's been screwed into something before. Maybe the other one's the same way. I could just knock it out with my thumbnail or screwdriver or something. Sorry guys, I just got over a cold and getting over a cold and or allergies or something. plastic bags back there. Number 10. I'm running out of parts on this bench, guys. Carburetors, some gaskets, then the electrical stuff, which when I bought it, there was no electrical on this motor. It was just a heap. I'm thinking, oh boy. So that might be fun to put together, but hey, it can only go one spot, right? Usually their connectors can only go in one spot, and I've got the manual to show where they go. There's a couple of videos out there. You can see existing motors, so hopefully it'll be like a puzzle. You can figure out where everything's supposed to go. So that'll be fun. It'd be more fun if I really want to get this thing in the water before it starts snowing. So that means within the next few weeks. If this thing works and works well, I could see wanting to do it again. I'd buy another one and do it again. Curious to see what the compression will be on the cylinders after it starts, and I can test it. That blade is getting dull. Told my grandkids last night, my two boys down in Tennessee, that I'm making this video for them because they love to play on the boat. Even the way it sits right now, it doesn't even work, but they love pretending to drive it, and they love looking at this thing. So I want to send the video to them to show them what Grandpa's up to. All right, so number 1, I did not oil up, right? Double check on that. Remember putting that thing in? Yeah, it's dry as a bone. And the problem with, I can see why people don't make videos. You have to be intentional about, and you're always looking at my back. I know people complain about that, but you know what? I'm doing the best I can do. It's hard to work on something and be cognizant of a camera, trying to get every picture. But myself, I would much rather just work on the thing and get it done. But now you got to take a video, and then you have to edit it all, because no one wants to see hours and hours of nothing. Just to edit it, you got to get a program. I use DaVinci Resolve. You got to learn the stupid program just to basically use it, and then cut everything, patch it all together. There's easily 3 times as much work in videoing. Like if I put an hour on this, it's 2 more hours of video and editing, and I haven't even uploaded to YouTube yet. So that's why probably a lot of people don't do these, because it's a pain to do the videoing. And how many people are going to be interested in how to rebuild a Mercury motor? I don't think I'll make any money on it, but I'm happy because my grandsons will like it, and I think there'll be a few you guys out there who will enjoy it. You know, it's not really a how-to video. It's just, this is how I did it, and hopefully you can get some pointers when you find out that when I put it in the boat and it smokes and blows up, you'll say, well, you know what, I'm going to pay someone to do this. Or I'll try it and I'll do it another way, the way that you didn't do it. So that's, hopefully you guys can get some enjoyment out of it. So, we're going to do 10 pounds, 10 foot-pounds. I was on 30 before, so that's wish this thing would start at 0, but it doesn't. It starts at 25, 20, 10. Is that right? 0, 10, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13. Yeah, okay. I know the 30's right, so that was the ending product. Who's... Yeah. How are we looking in the screen here? I'm going to move you a little bit so you can see a little bit better, and I can... Sorry about that, but that way we can get... Hopefully, my arm won't be too much in the way. 10 pound, number 1, 10 foot-pounds. That wasn't number 1. Yeah, it was. Number 2. I thought I was wrong, but I was right. What's the chances of that? 2. Number 3. Number 4. Five. 6. 8. 9. 10. Number 11. Number 12. It's looking like a motor, guys. It's starting to look like a motor. All right, going up to 20. 20 pounds. Number 1. Going up to 30. All right, they're all at 30. I'm going to sit and think about this for a while before I turn that extra 90 degrees just to make sure that I've got everything else done. But I think I do. All right, here we go. We're going to do the 90-degree turn on these guys. So, number 1, right here. Wow. Right about there. Just curious to see what the foot-pounds of that is. Is it 40? Can you measure it that way? It's more than 40. It's about 40. All right, number 2. Number 3. Just seems so wrong to do this. There's 12. So the reason you do this, according to the book, is you use, these are special bolts. They stretch. You torque them to spec, and then you crank them another 90 degrees after that. The bolts are made to stretch. They actually stretch. And once you do that once, you can't reuse the bolts. I know people do, but according to the manufacturer, you should buy new ones every time. So I'm hoping these don't leak, because I don't want to have to buy new bolts again. All right, here's number 1. I'm going to go 90 degrees. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Six. 7. 8. make torque wrenches where I'm sure they cost tons of money, but they'll actually measure 90 degrees or whatever. I'm gonna eyeball it. Sorry guys. When you do it, you can buy your own torque wrench. All right, they're all torqued and then twisted to 90. I hope I don't have to take them off for a long time. All right, here's the gaskets for the carburetors. No matter which way those go. I don't think so. It's weird that they're not shaped exactly like the cutouts, but the old ones are the same way. As you can see, they're more of a kind of a plastically rubber material. This is more like a, I don't know, seems like there's more of a cardboardy feel to it. Cardboardy, is that a word? Alright, so I took these off in order and I left the hoses on them just so I know which one. They say in the book to mark them before you lose which place they're in, because each carburetor has its own spot. By looking at them I can't tell, but the jets are different on each one. So according to the book, I want to make sure that they are the same ones that you took off. I'll torque these to spec later. I think they're 6.6 foot-pounds. Two Allen head screws and two nylon, I guess it's a stud with a nylon nut with a nylon insert. Those aren't coming off. I'm going to need an open-end wrench to tighten those guys down though. You can also use the box end. A little faster and a little more sure. I didn't run these through my ultrasonic cleaner because when I took them apart earlier, they look clean inside. So unless there's a problem, we go to fire it up and I think they need to be cleaned, I'm going to leave them the way they're at. Whoop! Just less screw. Just want to see what it looked like there. I'll let these linkages on because where they go. I'm going to get new hoses. These are in pretty darn good shape, but I think I'm going to buy new ones. Probably 20 years old, so probably a good idea to get new ones. 24 years old. The idle screw is in the way on this one. It's looking like a motor. Whenever possible, I like using the box end because it just has more points of contact. A little less chance of slipping off and stripping something. There it is. All right, so this guy snaps onto here. I think. Maybe it comes up here. Maybe. I don't know. That's not right. Might have to regroup. We'll figure it out. Might have to look at my picture when I took it apart. Those hoses are right. Okay, went back to my original video of me tearing it apart, and this bar is what goes on these three ball links. This part goes down here. I never took this off, so I don't think. Gotta figure out where that goes. Boom, boom, boom. Cool. So this has to go to the throttle. No, you know what this goes to? This goes to the oil injection system, I think. Where's the oil injection? It's right here.
Here's what I found.
I wasn't talking to you. So the oil pump is right here, and I deleted it. So that's what this goes to. I'm sure we'll be taking that off. I'm sure this goes to the throttle linkage somewhere. Cool. All right.